Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Appers, and welcome to This Week in Anderson on the Big Eye Sports Podcast on USPN Sports. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Steve Ellis. Steve, I'm really excited for our next guest. I got we obviously knew Sue back in high school, but we also got to talk to her at the Hall of Fame induction, which was really, really cool. And
absolutely,
just excited to have her in studio and to talk about her career and just what an unbelievable career she had at Anderson.
Well, going off of what a couple people said there at the Hall of Fame ceremony, and let people know for sure that if we ever do a podcast of top 5 girls soccer players at Anderson,
absolutely,
Sue's definitely in the top 5, if not top.
And there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's just you could hear by what Mr. Hall was saying at the ceremonies. And,
how awesome was that?
It was so cool. It was just so cool to be a part of that. So as we said, joining us is Sue Vogel, and what's your maiden name?
Crane.
Yeah. So there we go. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's go back and Steve, I hate to say it, but we got another one. So let's talk about what side of Anderson you grew up on.
Oh, well, I grew up in Summit.
Okay.
Bringing the tally to.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's every ghost. That's like 11 in a row now. Continue. I'm sorry, Sue.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I know it.
Apparently, that's where all the good athletes
all the cool
were,
people.
So.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Great place to grow up.
Okay.
And, I feel like everyone I talked to came from Summit. So
yes.
It's wonderful. Kids outside playing all the time and playing sports. And
what street did you grow up on?
I was on Linderwood.
Okay.
So parallel to Northport.
Yes.
So I walked, a mile to kindergarten back in the day, and then I defected over to Immaculate Heart of Mary for some Catholic education, and thankfully petitioned and received permission to head back to Anderson for high school.
Okay.
So that was.
Why did you have to?
Wonderful. I mean, with my parents.
Oh, I was going to say, wait a minute.
She got 1,000 signatures.
Exactly.
She was able to come back.
Well, I mean, so what? Like on Linderwood, so you're closer to
Muskegon. Right.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're like
houses,
there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
About 6 houses down from the curb.
Okay.
So yeah.
And that was a great neighborhood, Steve. Too bad you weren't a part of it.
You've mentioned that. Yeah. So who all in your neighborhood on Linderwood, or who did you hang with when you were that age?
When I was younger, I have 2 sisters that you probably know, Julie.
Sure.
My athletic friends know Julie. My teacher friends know Jen, because one's a teacher and one's an athlete. Greg Burning. I don't know if you remember the Burning.
I do. Sure.
Yeah, we had some wicked games of soccer in the backyard.
Okay.
These 2 fence posts are the goals.
Yes.
It was just everyone outside running around playing. So it was wonderful.
Being creative outside.
That's exactly right.
Some of it doesn't happen too often these days.
I agree.
And then back then, if you think about it, back then on that side there too, there was all that woods back there. It wasn't.
Correct.
Where Brandon Moore?
Correct.
Where that subdivision. So we used to go back in those woods all the time.
I was scared of the woods.
Really?
Yeah, probably like some parental influence on that.
Because of him.
Right. I heard you guys hung out in there. I didn't want any part of it. I was a little scared, I have to admit.
Really?
Yeah.
But, I played with a lot of kids over from your side of town, over near Maddox, or where were you?
No, I was Air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Forest Road.
So, Anderson's a small town regardless.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We're friends with everybody.
Yeah. So when you were growing up, and before you got to Anderson, what sports did you play, or did you play some sports at IHM?
I played a lot of soccer and I ran a lot of track.
Okay.
And kind of did little volleyball at IHM. Love volleyball. Still love sand volleyball.
Okay.
As long as I don't have to run too far. And then in high school I had like a season of softball and a couple seasons of track and, everything, but it all
no basketball.
One season of basketball, and it was horrible. I got called every time I had the ball because I kept running into people and they would fall down and I'd get a call. I mean, I'm like, you have to run and stand and let them run into you. I still don't really understand it very well, and my teammates had to point me. Like, you're going this way. You're going this way. I never knew what direction.
Yeah.
But one of my best friends was Kelsey Irving. And she's an outstanding basketball player. And I knew Holly from that experience.
Right. Okay.
I was comedic relief, I think, on the basketball team.
Nice. So we'll go over your awards here. And I know you played for the Cardinals. When did you start playing for them when you were little?
Growing up, I played neighborhood. Just a neighborhood team.
Yeah.
Judy Looney was my coach. We were called the Convenient Kick Chicks. I don't know if you remember Convenient Food Store.
Absolutely.
8 Mile,
yeah.
And so then I tried out for Select in 7th grade. And I played for Beachmont for a year.
Okay.
And then I pretty quickly figured out, like, Southeast Cardinals is where it's at for this age group.
Yeah.
And so there was a rule. There are all rules that came about. I had to play one season of neighborhood before I could then try out for the Cardinals. You had to have like a palate cleansing season. I don't know.
What?
Yeah.
That's
so I had to
crazy.
play one fall, and it was fun. And I tried out for the Cardinals and made it. So I played with Southeast Cincinnati Cardinals from 8th grade through, 30. Whenever they finally said, okay, you got to stop. we just kept playing and playing. I mean, we loved it.
What grade is this girl in? All right, so let's get directly into the main purpose of why you got into the Hall of Fame, which is this unbelievable career in soccer. And we have the cool thing at the head there, the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So nice, wasn't it?
And I stole this because I was hoping we were going to interview you. But listen to some of these stats here, Danny. It's pretty special, and you don't realize it. At the time we knew how great she was.
Exactly.
But when you start comparing over the years, this is like second to none. Let's see here. 87, she was the leading scorer on the team, which that would have been your junior.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, junior year. 1988, first team All City. All League 87 and 88. All Cincinnati Post first team 1988. She was a team captain in 88. Most valuable player of the year in the Enquirer.
Wow.
I mean, which is so rare.
But it's phenomenal. I mean, that is. I mean, that's a phenomenal feat.
That's right. Yep. She was on a great team that I didn't know this until the Hall of Fame ceremony, that made it to the state finals. Was it the finals, right?
Yeah.
And you were the only senior on the team?
Yes. Very magical.
Incredible.
It was.
And she was a player of the year in the Enquirer. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That is
incredible. What a great career. And you went on, you played in the All-Star games, and then we'll talk about going on and playing in college. But talk a little bit about playing at Anderson and the teams you played on and the coaches you had.
It was interesting. I had 3 coaches in 4 years at Anderson.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my freshman year, I played for Randy Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think he taught there as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Great personality, super fun. And I got moved up to varsity kind of in the middle of the season.
Okay.
And I scored a goal, and he gave me the ball, which was really nice.
That's cool.
He was really fun and personable. And then my second 2 years, I had Ruth Moon, do you know Joe Moon?
Sure.
Yeah.
His sister.
I forgot about her being the coach there. Yeah.
And Steve Zimmerman was like her assistant and the reserve coach.
Yep.
And that was great. It was great. She had been a player, and so that was kind of relatable.
Okay.
And then my senior year, we had Mr. Hankey. Do you know Tim and Shelley Hankey?
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful people. And Jim just kind of stepped up. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was he a club coach, I'm assuming?
Maybe.
I was just wondering how that happened, because
I don't know.
Tim was such a great player. He went on to play college, and then all of a sudden
I did not
his
know
dad
that.
steps in as a girl. I'm like, what?
Yep.
I mean, what was I don't know what his experience
And
was.
I don't know either, to be honest. I don't know if it was like, I really don't, I don't even want to speculate. It just, there he was, and Mr. Phil Cady was his assistant.
Yep.
And Mr. Benedetto.
Yeah,
right. You know Benedetto.
Wow. Sure.
There's all kinds of Benedettos.
Yeah.
And, they were very nice and kind and helpful. And it was just an odd, motley crew, though, because I was the only senior.
Yeah.
We had some great girls, this crop of amazing freshmen.
Okay.
My sister among them. There were, at least 8 of them.
Okay.
Carrie Walsh, my sister is Julie Vogel, Tracy Bulger, just great players. And we lost like our first 3 games, somebody reminded me of that season. And it was kind of like, here. Somebody said 5, but the first 2 were scrimmages.
Okay.
And it was like, wow. It's not going to be a good one.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened. It was pretty amazing. It just clicked. And, I think it's great to be the underdog.
Yeah.
I love that. There's no pressure.
So how many goals did you score your senior year? Do you remember?
I have no idea. Well, an interesting thing happened. I had been on offense my whole life, including through my junior year. And my senior year, at the beginning, I was up front and felt sort of irrelevant. And I remember we were like, we need a change. And Mr. Henke and I were kind of talking, and we came up with like, hey, why don't you go to stopper, like center fullback, center defense.
Yep.
And I did, and I loved it. And it was almost like at that moment, everything clicked for me. And then the team kind of fell in place.
Everything turned
around. It was a neat moment.
Really?
And I was like, I am more of a defensive player.
So you were able to help prevent goals, but then were you able to continue and go on up?
I would occasionally make runs.
Okay.
One of our favorite plays is I would run it out of the back and blast it up, and Katie Terrace would finish running down the field and score.
Nice.
She was a year younger than I am.
Okay.
Great player. She played at Dayton.
Yeah.
I mean, there were just some wonderful girls, and I don't even know that half of them went on and played college, but sort of in that moment, it all worked out.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, what a great career. So what do you remember about that time? You talked about the coaches and the players. I mean, obviously making it as far as you did in state, but what do you remember about that time frame?
It was odd because the state of Ohio had passed a law saying you had to choose between playing select soccer and high school soccer. And it was this major deal. I forget what the House bill was. My dad organized a protest when I was a 10th or 11th grade, and we took the bus up and protested. So it's funny, the season started with, there were 5 of us that would have been playing at Anderson: Stacy Madden, Sandy Ross, Kelsey, and Allison Quarter. I don't know if you know.
Oh, yeah. Blonde, yeah.
Yeah, and myself. And we were all on the 71 Cardinals, and we all had this decision to make.
Okay.
And it was an awful decision, and we worried about it all summer, and my select coach was like, we're going to really put together a great fall. You're going to scrimmage colleges and get exposure. But I really wanted to play school ball.
Right, yes.
I mean, it's so magical.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like a movie scene. We had a meeting at Betty Long's house, and we each had to go around and state our intended, future.
That's just gotta stink.
And then we went to all 4 girls, ended up saying, I'm going to stay select. I'm going to stay select. And then she got to me and I was like, I want to play high school. And she was like, okay, well, she's made her choice. And I walked out and got in my car and drove over to Anderson. And it was the best decision I ever made.
Wow. So to be clear, you're saying that at the time you couldn't, like in the off season, couldn't play select?
You could. I mean, you had to choose. I don't know if it was like during the school year, maybe.
Okay.
Because I could play select in the summer and spring. And I did for years.
Yep.
But I guess maybe for the main fall season.
Okay.
You weren't allowed to just
overlap.
Yeah.
So, but when you decided that you were going to play, and did the other girls? They didn't play then?
They played with the Cardinals.
Right.
So I'm not sure what they did. I've heard they did, some scrimmages with like UC.
Yeah.
Right.
I felt.
So they didn't play high school soccer that year then?
Correct.
For the senior year?
Correct.
That's probably
really
why you were by yourself.
Actually. Correct. That's why I was by
So
myself.
those girls you mentioned, they decided to play select.
Yes. And then I think Kelsey took a break from soccer altogether and then came back and played at Xavier.
Just think about
just for the heck of it.
If you would have had those girls too. And
I know. But then you think, would the dynamic have been different?
Well, that's
you're
you
right.
can't break it
Right,
down.
exactly right.
You can't analyze it like that.
Wow.
So we were expected to do nothing. I remember in the Forest Hills Journal, they were kind of like, well, this is a Cinderella team and really shouldn't be doing anything well. And But then I think because of that, we're like, oh, well, what the hell? We're just going to start.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it was terrifying. And I learned that sometimes in life you have to make a decision that maybe isn't what everybody else is doing. And that's terrifying.
Good for you.
And I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And look at the result.
Exactly.
I mean, it's incredible. All right. So we don't have this question now, but I need to ask this question to you, Sue, because it's kind of near to me and Danny is my dad. And my dad in 1982 started a Lucky Dollar thing. I mean, I'm like getting choked up just talking about it. And he would pass it on to his favorite athlete at Anderson to give them some good luck. And it started, and then when I got in high school, I had it. And then when I finished playing college, gave it back to him. And it was right about the same time that I think he handed it off to you. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that all came about?
Absolutely. He was such a wonderful, kind man. I think so many people in Anderson are. And at the end of the games, it was so exciting to run over to the sidelines near the concession stand. And I don't think they play there anymore, which is sad.
I know.
But he was one of those wonderful people that was just so excited and would talk to me and ask me about the game. And he just came up after a game one time and explained what you just did. I choose an athlete to carry the dollar, and it's really important. This is a long tradition, and you're not the first and you won't be the last.
Right.
Will you do this? And I said, of course.
Yeah.
And I folded it up and stuck it in my shin guard, which was like a mannequin leg. I had these amazing shin guards. My dad got them for me because he was, I was kind of like a Mack truck. I think he just could foresee some bones break. And it would get under there and in the sweat and the stank. And I wore it to every single game.
Did you?
Yeah. And it was so special.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And then I know Kerry Walsh had it as a freshman. And yeah. It's really wonderful that he started that and that it's still going on.
If you say some of the athletes that you go back, Joe Dayton, was he one of them? Or
no, I'm trying to think who the first
started.
One was.
Well, my brother Timmy was on there.
Yeah.
Brian, your nephew, was on there. There was just so many. I'm forgetting a lot of them, but it's a really cool thing, and it's still going on. And Bill was just like for me, I didn't play that much, but Bill was just as excited for me when I got in the game and scored. He'd be more excited for me than he would be for Steve sometimes. Right. That's the way he was.
Yeah,
he just loved everything Anderson.
Yeah,
he did. And at the time, I didn't even realize the significance it's been since, and hearing these stories.
Yes.
Wow, I'm so glad I got to hold the lucky dollar.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Are you the steward? Are you the one in charge?
Well, right now, because my youngest daughter has it.
Okay.
And it's gone through both my two brothers and my sister. It's gone through their kids.
Oh, my.
And then I have the youngest kids. And then it'll go on to my siblings' grandkids.
Oh, my gosh.
They're about 5-6 years away. So we're going to have a little break. So we may have to find somebody.
Yeah, I think you might.
It would be really cool if we could figure out every single one.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And list it somewhere just so everybody sees it. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I know we could probably come up with it.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
All right. So the next thing I want to ask you about is when you talked about all the coaches that you had at Anderson, is that after your playing days, because I want to get back to Danny about playing at Xavier, is you got to coach at Anderson. Is that right?
I did. Yes. I coached for 2 years.
Okay.
And
when was that?
That was like, 93 and 4 or 4 and 5.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Okay.
And, I learned from being a coach that I loved to play soccer.
Okay.
I loved it so much.
Yes.
The coaching part. That's great.
It's different. It's a different animal.
Yep.
And it was a challenge. And, we can't all be legendary like Brian Sullivan, who did it for years and years and was just absolutely perfect. We had 2 winning seasons, but it was tough for me. I will say I also learned a lot about how to be proactive and communicative and organized, because when you're coaching at Anderson, you're coaching the families as well as the players.
No doubt.
And so the year after I coached, I was my first year teaching, and I was the most organized teacher you've ever seen. And I contacted those parents and sent emails, and I was so on the ball. So it was really a blessing.
But you were probably young enough. You probably led by example. You went out and did the drills with them.
I did. And I had just finished at Xavier.
Yeah.
So I still felt like a player and still love to play, but it's just a different thing. And I think there are great players who aren't very good coaches, and there are great coaches who have never played. And I did appreciate the experience.
Yeah.
It was major.
Who was the AD? Was that Corbett or Newman?
Newman.
Okay.
But Randy was at Anderson when we went, right? Wasn't he in some capacity?
Yeah, he was always coaching something.
Or
coach
then
basketball.
Coach
basketball
at junior high.
Football. He's coaching football at Anderson. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, like sports life. I love that.
That's him.
So, Dan, you wanted to ask her about playing at Xavier.
Yeah, well, let me just get real quick back to something that Steve stole from me again, like he always does. He always steals questions from me. We were talking about the state finals, and Steve, obviously took my question. You see it right down here, Steve?
I should have read down further.
Right there?
I
he
see
did.
that.
He does it all the time. So he does it every single time.
He's stealing your thunder.
He steals my questions,
I'm sorry.
and I stare at him, and he looks away.
I did it on purpose.
I could point to each of you.
Would you do that? It's just amazing.
I didn't know you were here, Danny.
I'm going to go back to the finals. Let's talk about what it was like at school, because I know, just from the experience of broadcasting the football games at Anderson, and what it was like for the finals when they made it. Was it electric at school? Was it just
amazing.
Crazy?
It was, and I remember being just so awed by the school spirit.
Yeah.
We had a pep rally before the game.
Cool.
And the entire school came in the gym, and we all spoke, and it was amazing. And then they did one after the game, which I thought was so nice.
Wow.
I mean, we had lost, and I was in a depression over that. No, but I thought that was so wonderful as well.
Really
and
cool.
I remember saying then, and I believe this, it was amazing to go to away games and see more orange than red or whatever the opposing school. And people would go, and people took the bus up to Columbus.
Well, I was just getting ready to ask that. So it was in Columbus. So it wasn't too far away, but still, they probably had school buses, right, taking them up there.
They did. And we had carloads that went up.
Cool.
And I remember Julie Cluxton. I don't know if you know the Cluxton.
Yep. Sure.
Julie and my friend Carrie Davis. You probably know Jet Davis.
I do, Carrie.
Made a huge banner out of a sheet. Go get 'em Goose, because that was my nickname in high school. And it was amazing. It was just a wonderful experience. And I'm still a little annoyed and sad that we lost. But I look back and realize how lucky it was that we had.
Who did you play?
We played Columbus Northmont.
Okay.
And I look back and I do feel that the game before that we played, I believe, Westerville up at Welcome Stadium, which is now something else at UD. And I kind of feel like we shouldn't have won the semifinals, and we shouldn't have lost the finals.
Oh, wow.
But I think, that's how sports are.
Right. Yeah.
In the semifinals, that team was amazing, and they were just super top-notch, lots of upperclassmen. And for some reason, we all just sort of played out of our minds and didn't miss a thing, got one in, held it, and won. And we really shouldn't have won that game. And then we got to finals, and I actually just ran into Emily Caldwell, who told me she's talked to some players from that team who said, you guys should have won the finals. We should not have won. Because they just kind of booted the ball, and I don't know what happened. We got a little nervous. I do remember that we were winning 1-0. And they put a goal in at 21 minutes. But I realized until that point I had just been kind of waiting, okay, we can just hold them. We can hold them. And you should never do that. You just keep playing the game. Put another goal in, you know. Right. And I kind of went on the defense way too early. And not that any of it matters.
And so was the finals.
It was 2-1. They put in 2 real quick there in the last 19 minutes, and we couldn't get back.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, but over the course of time, I think the girls' soccer has been in 45 years, something like that now. And I think there was 10 years ago, there was a pretty good team that went far, but I think you guys are the only ones coming to the state finals.
And I think that there's only been one men's team that went to that won the finals, right?
No, they
78.
No, they didn't win. They made it to the finals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there hasn't been many. So there hasn't been many in soccer.
I know.
Think about all the soccer teams. Think about all those great soccer teams Anderson had in the 80s. I mean, and not any of them made it that far. I mean, it's just crazy.
It was.
So talking about that, obviously, then fed off probably for college and recruiting. So kind of take us down that whole path of the college recruiting and what you were thinking and where you're going to go and did you want to play and what were you doing? What was that all about?
Well, I definitely was going to keep playing because I would rather have played soccer than done anything else in the whole wide world. And my dad was kind of like, okay, we're going to go see all these colleges. And we didn't know what we were doing. And we went and visited a lot of colleges. And I was actually going to play for Michigan State.
Wow.
And I had talked to the coach. It was a little different then. There weren't signing days. I don't think I signed anything. But then in the spring of '89, I tore my ACL playing indoor. And I don't remember well. My dad has passed, sadly. So I can't really ask the details. But I think because of that, I kind of cooled with Michigan State. I'm not sure if the coach got cold feet or I'm not sure what happened.
Right. Okay.
But Frank Zuccola, who had been the Glen Estee coach, I stayed at UC my freshman year to rehab my knee, and he just recruited me then to Xavier. Okay. And I was like, all right, a bird in the hand. And so I ended up at Xavier with wonderful, wonderful girls.
That's awesome.
And got to play there. But
And you guys did pretty well too.
We did. Yeah, he kind of built it from the ground up. It had been more of a club type team, and he just came in like gangbusters and recruited all of us, and it was really amazing. At one point we were top 20 in the nation. That he had these really big dreams of grandeur, and I loved it. I know it was a little intense for some people, but you played out of your mind.
So do you remember during that time how good Michigan State was?
That is an excellent question, and I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
I don't know if we could Google that or not.
I'm sure we could.
Yeah.
I think Xavier was much better.
Yeah. No, because
that's a great question.
Kind of solidifies.
Well, you know what's going to happen? We're all three going to leave this, and we're all going to get on our phones. We're going to find out what's going on with that.
So I have a question, and you have a microphone. How good was Debbie Sullivan?
I absolutely love Debbie and Brian.
Don't suck up to Debbie.
I am not. She is wonderful, and she is this wonderful player who is the opposite of me. Okay. She is graceful And do you remember seeing her play?
Yes.
It was very
vaguely
graceful.
Yes.
Which is why her knees are fine. Like my knees are shot, and she would just go running down that field and beat the girl with the ball and dribble it away and make a great pass, and that was it.
Yeah.
And she's real calm and cool and steady.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Debbie. She's just.
And so you're saying you're not calm, cool, and collected?
No, I am much more like.
Let's go! Like Tasmanian devil.
She was the Mack truck.
I was the Mack truck, exactly.
The goose.
That's right.
So I think you had mentioned some other people on that team that was
from Xavier.
Yeah.
Oh, Christy Kleekamp is from Anderson.
Sure,
Christy
Crone.
Oh, right? Crone now. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We all had nicknames. Jenny Tombregel. I don't know if you remember the Tom. There's a few from the West Side. Jenny Vide, Trisha Feldhouse. I got to get them all.
Feldhouse. That sounds like a West Side.
Yeah.
Sally Birding. Those were West. There were about 3 or 4 West Siders and 3 from the East Side, and we were real tight. And they're my only friends from college.
and you guys.
That was it.
You guys were didn't you guys win MCC champs? That takes it back. Midwestern, collegiate, whatever.
Pretty good. Yeah.
We might have. And then Kelly Keller was from Glen Estee. She played too.
Okay.
She's from the East Side. So it was really fun.
Kelly Keller?
Yeah, I know.
Nice name.
I know.
Yeah.
Good famous name.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. All right. So that was a fun experience then.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I mean, riding in small buses to the middle of the cornfields.
Yeah.
I mean, every weekend my freshman year we were out of town. So I don't think Zook had any, street cred yet. We got all the away games in the first year.
Yeah.
It was just so wonderful though, because at that time people played because they loved the sport.
Exactly.
Right.
And so we all loved it. And I just think it's changed a little bit in that regard. And I'm so thankful. We're all thankful that we played at that time.
So did you guys play together in the off season too, or?
Some of us. I played with the Cardinals all through high school, summers and spring, all through college. Till basically at 35, my doctor said you can walk or you can keep playing soccer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought about it. And I was like, oh, okay.
So
I got to. The wonderful thing about getting older is you get to play with all your idols.
Yeah.
So like my idol was like Leslie Roberto, Lori Wallace.
Sure.
I got to play with Terry Ross. She played at Xavier. Leslie Harris graduated before I came in.
The year before,
I still got to play with them. Barb Volker, Stacey Glenn. And as you get older, it's like all the players who just are sort of half interested kind of drop off.
Yeah.
And the players who love it keep coming together and coming together. And so by the end, it was all my idols.
So I was just thinking about this. So was there a time when you were playing against UC that there was a lot of Anderson girls on the field?
At UC?
Yeah.
When I played for Xavier?
Yeah.
Not really, because again,
they'd already moved on?
Well, my freshman year I did play against Leslie and Lori. Yes, at UC.
Okay.
But then, they were 3 years older than me, so there weren't a lot of years where we competed like that.
Okay.
It was mostly together with the Cardinals and then the adult Cardinals with, I don't even know what we were called, with Bruce Campbell coaching. He was from Turpin. Brad Campbell.
Yeah, sure.
He kept us together, and we would play and win the regionals, and we went to national. I didn't even remember any of this, but Kelsey wrote a book on Title IX.
Oh, really?
Nice. Plug for Kelsey.
Yep.
And it was good for me because when I had to gather all this information for the Hall of Fame, I didn't remember any of it. And she contacted me, and she had been doing all this research.
Really?
And
nice.
Her mom had a shoebox full of information. And
is she local? Kelsey?
She lives in South Bend. She's an English professor.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for her.
So did somebody say that you went on and you played kind of like semi-pro?
We did a semi-pro. They tried it one time before FC. There was this other incarnation called the Cincinnati Leopards or the Cheetahs was the guys' team. The Cincinnati Cheetahs.
Okay.
And, I don't know if like Martellas were on there. I'm trying to remember.
I thought they were.
I'm sure they were.
I thought they were.
And it lasted like a year or two. And we played. We were the Leopards.
Okay.
And it was really fun because my select coach was Edmund Walker, whose wife Kara was our goalie, and she'd been on the older Cardinal team, I believe. Okay. And he just kind of said one Saturday morning, "Hey, let's go be the cheetah team for the women." And we're like, "Okay, let's try it." And we did, and it was fun. And I don't want to say semi-pro. We got our shoes bought for us, which was wonderful.
Big. That's big.
We did okay. It was really exciting, and something I can tell my kids.
Where'd you guys play at? Where'd you?
Deer Park High School.
Okay.
Really?
So it was random.
Kind of central, somewhat.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Wow. So I want to talk about your family and what you're doing now, but I do have another question. I want to go back. So how did it come about getting Mike Hall to come and introduce you?
Wasn't he wonderful?
Just so cool.
Unbelievable.
I mean, what a cool guy he is.
He is a wonderful man. And, you know, my sister's been inducted twice, once with like the track team and once for soccer, because it's really neat actually. Julie was on the mile relay team that held the school record with Katie Wolf and a couple other girls for all these years until Debbie's daughter broke it. I'm sure you've heard this.
Oh, jeez.
So that was amazing. I mean, a full circle moment. So I would see Mike at these inductions, and he would always come up to me and say, you know, you need to be in this hall. And I was like, well, thank you so much. That's so nice of you to say. I didn't really do anything. I mean, what do you just say thank you? And so then when I was nominated, they said, you know, who would you like to introduce you? And I said, it's got to be Mike Hall. He's been telling me for years I need to be in there. And he was so wonderful and so on board. And he worked with my sister Jen a lot on getting the information together. And he spent, you know, hours on the phone having conversations and wanting to get to know me and my children and my teaching career and the other. I mean, so thorough.
That's really cool.
Such a great guy.
Yeah, he's always been like that, though. He's just always been.
And Danny, we've been doing this for a couple of years now, and you know, we've interviewed Mr. Wolf and Sinkovich and some other ones, and it's a great tool for people to get caught up with like you and what you're doing.
Exactly.
And we've been trying to get Mr. Holland because we know everybody would love to get
so
caught
now we
up
got a
with him.
connection with you, so you can tell him that we want to interview him.
I can make a phone call.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody
is a legend. He's
a legend, and everybody would love him.
He's got a hallway named after him, for Christ's sake.
He told me that. Mike Hallway.
Yes,
great.
exactly.
I love it. Just a wonderful guy. And I know he went on and did like a Christian academy downtown.
Miami Christian.
It's
Miami,
going strong.
Newtown.
The Miami Valley.
And that's still going. Oh my gosh.
It's going
he
real
had done one downtown as well, a rougher school, and just such a great guy. And I know in high school he had talked to us about doing, you know, videos to try to help keep kids on a good path.
Yeah.
He was always just trying to do great things for kids, I think. And I really liked him.
Oh, he set the bar high.
Yeah,
he did. He really did.
Was his first year was our senior year, right?
Correct.
It was my freshman year.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize, but he knew that. So.
Yeah. Was that right?
Yeah. So he informed me of that.
So you briefly mentioned it. What are you doing now? You're a teacher?
Yeah, I teach. Yes, I teach 5th grade math over in West Claremont.
What school?
Willowville.
Yes.
And I love it. I was at the middle school for about 12 years.
Okay.
And I loved that. But, you know, I did my tour of duty, and now I get the 5th graders. To me, it's the perfect age.
Okay.
They can, you know, they're very capable, but still very sweet.
Right.
I mean, I just love it. And I love the content. It's all the good stuff. It's the fractions, the decimals, you know.
Okay.
So I love it. It's
a new school. They built a brand new because Tyler, my son, went there when it was the older school, like, you know, and they had the Memorial Day parade. And all that stuff.
We just had
huge.
It's wonderful.
That thing is one of the
and
best.
They bring in the veterans.
Is that right?
It is one of the best things I've ever been to for an elementary school. I mean, the kids would look forward to it so much. Back then, it was Mr. Martin was the principal. I don't know if you remember him.
Yep, John Martin.
But that was really cool. And then since then, they've built a new school, right?
Correct. Yeah. This is our 3rd year, I think, in the new building.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and it's a really great community over there.
It is.
They all come out and watch the parade. And it's wonderful.
That's pretty neat.
So how many years do you have in now?
26.
Wow.
I know.
Look at that.
We're old. I mean, how did this happen? I just don't. I watched the new Top Gun today. Have you guys seen that?
Unbelievable.
Outstanding.
It is, but I mean, I was telling my kids they loved it. I'm like, but can you imagine if you had seen them 37 years ago, and this was a moment for you?
It's a lifetime ago.
You know, that's what stinks now for us. Now that we're older, it's like when we watched the original Top Gun was on the other night.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise looks like a little baby. I mean, he looks so young, and I'm thinking. We were, you know,
I know, and he still looks great. I'm like, you know, if we all look as good as Tom Cruise, and I'm sure we do. Then we got nothing to worry about.
Real quick on the Top Gun thing, doesn't that guy look so much like the real Goose?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it just looks dead on him.
Perfectly cast.
Mainly because of the mustache, but
yeah, we're giving a plug here for Top Gun. If anybody hasn't seen it right now, it's probably one of the best movies we've seen.
This podcast is sponsored by
Top Gun Maverick.
I'm sure Tom Cruise is very appreciative.
He's gonna be watching this.
I'm sure he is.
He's gonna love
So
it.
what about family? Give us an update
I
on
have 3 boys.
Oh, great.
Love having boys. I love being a boy mom.
Yeah.
My oldest just finished his first year at Ohio State.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And then I have 2 at Loveland High School. One will
Okay.
be a junior, one will be a sophomore.
Okay.
So we live over in Loveland.
Loveland, okay.
Yeah, great town.
Yeah.
Love the river and the downtown,
Yep.
the
Yeah.
active life.
Yeah.
You know, it's great to be active.
Wow.
And you're happy that it's summer break right now,
I'm
right?
really happy that it's summer break.
Yeah. And last question I have is I understand you're in a band or a singer.
Well, at this point, I'm relegated to like singing the math facts to my students.
Oh,
Yeah.
we got to see some videos
I
of
would
this.
love to see that.
I'm happy to do it. You know, we sing like 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63. So we have songs for
Wow.
all the math.
That is awesome.
I know. That is
great,
That's my
man.
favorite.
And it was in a good tune, too.
I'm telling you, I would have got an A.
I mean, I would've-
for a teacher.
I would have stood up and danced with it.
I
would've
love
been-
it. And it's
I mean,
funny.
that's not boring. No.
We are not boring in my class. And in the beginning of the year, it's pretty much me doing a solo. But by the end,
Everybody.
7, 14, 21. I mean, it's wonderful.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but you understand that 20 years from now, 25 years, there's going to be a
Kid that'll
student
do that.
They
that's
might
going to bring
remember
it
their
up.
sevens.
Yes.
I know.
Just like we had Dan Bartholomew on,
Yep.
and people were commenting how they remember the things he used to teach back
Right.
at Anderson Middle School.
Yeah.
I mean, still to this day.
And ways to remember it.
Yeah.
Right,
Like
little
we're-
tips and tricks. There's so many little things like that, and it
Wow.
makes it stick for the kids. But I did actually sing in a band back in the day, and it was a great fun. You know, we had a wonderful time. We recorded a CD. We actually got to
Really?
open up for Lilith Fair. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
A lot
Look
of people
at you.
don't. I know.
You were the main singer for that?
I was the singer. I had
about
always,
that?
you know, we would sing on the soccer bus. And Laura Wambach, do you know Abby Wambach,
Oh, yeah.
superstar? Her older sister Laura played with us at Xavier, and she played guitar and soccer. So on the bus, on the vans, we would be singing the Indigo Girls.
That's
you know.
incredible.
It
How
was
fun is
so-
that?
Oh, so fun.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
So then a friend called me out of the blue in like 96 or 7, said, "Hey, my friend needs a singer for their band. Are you interested?" I was like, "Yeah." So it was really fun.
That's awesome.
We did it for a few years, and I got to meet all my singing idols, you know, like Sarah McLachlan and
That's
Cheryl
awesome.
Crow.
Did you really?
It was so
Wow.
fun. Yeah, it was a great time.
You've had an unbelievable. This is awesome.
I've been
man.
very, very lucky. I've been very lucky because I love to do the things I love to do, and I think when you love what you do, good things just happen.
That's
you know?
awesome.
Good way to put it.
I'm gonna go look for that CD. I'm gonna just so I can put it on or
You
something.
know,
just,
it just did become available on like Spotify or all
Really?
those.
Is that right?
Because our guitar player's son was like, "Dad, you got to get this stuff
Right.
somewhere that we can hear it." So you might be able to find
that's
it.
awesome.
I got the 7 stuck in my head.
I also have the 6s, 8s, and 4s. So you know,
Really?
call me
Man.
up if you need
Anything
a
with
little
fractions?
refresher.
Anything with fractions? I mean, 'cause-
Not songs, but you know, games. We could play games after.
we can do that. So again, Steve stole one of my questions
I
again.
did not.
Steve, I
I
didn't
did not.
point.
He did it
I
on
didn't
purpose.
point.
No,
he
I-
did it on purpose. I saw him smile when he did it, so he did it on purpose. And he just kept going, and he kept going, and he kept looking away. See, he did it on purpose, trying to
Dude,
get me to.
write your own material.
I need to come to rehearsal.
So here's what happens. Here's what happens all the time. I am the one that writes these scripts, and then
Yeah.
he'll tell me, "Yeah, let's put this in. Let's not do this." And every single episode we do, he takes over 2 or 3 questions all the time.
I need to read like the questions down the road because I didn't realize you were going to
You
ask
should
that.
know what's going on. A professional would know what's going on. But
apologies.
Maybe if you highlighted his
it still wouldn't work. It still
That
wouldn't
would
work.
not even
No.
be a deterrent.
Because we're so much like this that we would do it on purpose, just to tick
So
each
are there
other.
times that you steal his words?
Never. I've
Absolutely,
never
yes.
done it.
I'm sure.
So I'm going to go back to the question he stole about the
Go back, go back.
Hall of Fame. So obviously I was there for that Hall of Fame. It was an awesome night. I mean, just talk a little bit about like just for me, what got me was when I was doing my speech. I thought I was fine because it was kind of cool because the stage was up a little higher, so you can kind of see over the top.
Correct.
But when I saw my mom That's what got me, because my mom was just freaking bawling, and my stepson, which is Chris, I'm married to Chris that and my stepson was crying, and that got me, and that's when I started getting choked up because they were sitting right next to each other. How was it for you with your family and just all your friends and all the people you saw? How was that night for you?
It is so magical, and congratulations to you, by the way. And I thought your speech was wonderful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And I really enjoyed it. It was just a magical night. I've sort of articulated it as this. I feel like we were lucky enough to have the season, let alone getting to go have this amazing night all these years later to celebrate it with the friends and the family that were there then. And they did a fantastic job, I thought, putting it together. Everybody came. I had friends that flew in, which was so kind. And it was such a great time seeing everyone.
It was awesome.
We got to find a way to make it happen when someone's not getting inducted. Just make it happen.
Well, that's what they kind of were saying, is that now we need to make sure, like me and you and some of the people that have been inducted, Dana, to come back for the people that are getting inducted, to try to get more of those people back. You know what I mean? Because not everybody's doing that. And I'll be honest, I would love to be standing there shaking someone's hand when they get in. I mean, I thought that was really, really cool.
Me too.
I mean, I thought it was. I thought it was awesome, and I got to say thank you to this guy, because this is the guy that put us in and did a surprise for Greg and I, because you probably heard the story about us at the lounge. We were doing a show for Anderson football.
Oh, yes.
And so we're there, and things start happening. Like, all right, something's going on here. I saw my brother Timmy, because we've been trying to get my brother Timmy in, and I thought, oh, Frank's here, they're going to say something about Timmy, and then when it happened, it just floored me. I mean, I just never would have. So for him, obviously with you too, just the people that do that, it's pretty awesome.
And it's a lot of work to do that.
It's a ton of work
for somebody. I mean, that was very kind of you. I mean, there are hours, I think, that go into gathering all that. And
well, it's easy when it's well deserved.
For both
nice
of you to say.
It was a
magical night. I mean, I'm so glad Mike was there. It was just great to see everybody. And you're right, we need to keep going back.
We do. And seeing Phil Sinkovich there was cool, and just seeing Forrest Heist came back. I mean, it was just, and he was what?
He was one of the first in the Hall of Fame.
First in the Hall of Fame, and he was there.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just a great night. So it was pretty awesome.
And it is nice, because when you grow up, I think there is in everyone a tendency to sort of go away. Like, I'm going to go establish myself.
Right.
But you got to be able to go back and see the place where you started, and how wonderful it is, and how wonderful the people are.
Saying that, let's talk. We've always talked about this, like how, obviously Steve and I have lived here all of our lives, and Anderson's just a special place. I mean, I know you live in Loveland, but it's a pretty, if you think about it, it's been a pretty special place. I mean, it's a great place to live.
It is a wonderful place, and I love driving down the streets and seeing all the houses where I hung out, and all the green space, because Anderson does such a beautiful job of keeping it beautiful and green, and it's fantastic. It's a great community.
It really is. So one of the things we try to do at the end of our podcast is kind of do some of the favorite memories that you have. So we're going to do a couple of them. We're going to do favorite memory in high school, and then we're going to do a college, and then maybe either a favorite, coach or teacher. So let's start off with your favorite high school memory. State finals, maybe?
Yeah, going to state. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I have a really good college memory that you might enjoy. Okay, so I went, and my friends are already laughing at this. So my freshman year, as mentioned, I went. You probably heard this. I went to UC, and in the process, decided that I was going to be playing for Xavier.
Okay,
and so. I had to go after class one day down to Xavier to get a transfer application and fill it out so that I could be attending there in the fall. So I was not very good with directions. And my friend said, go down Madison Road and turn left on Victory, and it'll be on your right. So I did that. I followed the directions, and I parked, and I went in, and I went into the office, and I said, hey, I need to get a transfer application. I'm going to be coming here next year. And they were like, well, where are you coming from? And I said, UC. Oh, well, that's odd. Do you know you have to take a test to get in here? And, this kind of went on for a while. I said, I know I'm coming. I'm playing soccer. We can call the coach. And finally someone goes, where do you think you are? And I said, Xavier University. And do you want to guess where I really was? I was at Walnut Hills High School. Yes. And I could just see the whole room go down in laughter.
Oh, that's
and I laughed too, and I said, my friends are going to love this.
This is awesome.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
That's a great
I followed
story.
directions. I just didn't go far down Victory Parkway
Just a little
enough.
further
That is
down.
great.
So
That's hilarious.
That was a good story.
That is
I
a
really
great
enjoyed
story.
it. So,
That is
I
a
mean,
great
you know.
story. Oh, that's awesome. What about coach? Like favorite? It could be anything. It could be your select team. It could be high school or college.
You know, I had so many coaches along the way. I don't have one that is my favorite. I feel they all sort of contribute to your development as a player. I loved playing for Zukala in college. In high school, it felt more like we were all sort of a committee. It wasn't like coach and players.
Right.
We were just all together. I loved Betty Long on the Cardinals. She was an excellent coach and just really put together. I loved Judy Looney when I was 6 years old. She was my little team coach. So there isn't one that stands out for me. They were all positive and good.
Yeah.
I do want to share that your brother was my coach when I played softball.
Yes.
And I was a little bit of a spaz, and I had lots of energy back in the day, and I do seem to remember that there was a softball practice where he said, if you overthrow this ball one more time,
Here we go.
and I did. I overthrew it. I would get so excited. That's it. Everybody out. Everybody was kicked out of the gym because I overthrew the ball. So I'd like to apologize to your brother.
Only 35 years later. No,
That's funny.
I'm sure
you weren't the first
sleep
one, and
over
I'm
it.
sure you weren't the last one to do something like that.
That's
I felt
awesome.
really bad.
No,
but
please.
it was great. And as far as teachers, there were so many great teachers at
Right.
Anderson.
Yeah.
I loved Miss Bruff. Remember her?
Barbara.
Barbara Bro.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
English.
I loved Miss Tobias. I don't know if you guys ever had her.
Spanish.
My friend Kelsey and I loved her, and we would go to Chi-Chi's and try to have some conversations.
Chi-Chi's.
And you remember Chi-Chi's?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would dog sit for her occasionally.
Is that right?
Yes. And she has sadly passed.
Yeah.
But she was I just loved her. Kind of gruff exterior, but heart of gold. I mean, I just love that.
Wow.
So-
It's just awesome to hear the different teachers that everybody
Brings to the
that
table.
everybody
Yeah.
likes at different times. I mean, I've said this many times. My favorite was Roger Grooms.
I never had him, but I've heard
he
nothing
was
but
awesome.
amazing
He
things
was
about
awesome.
him.
Yeah.
What about you? What was yours again?
Well, I tell you, it's funny going off with Tobias because I had Tobias and Sheehan.
Oh, I had Miss Sheehan too. She was so nice.
And she was really nice,
Yeah.
but she lived right next door to my sister when they got married in an apartment complex by Wendy's.
Okay.
Where it used to be. And I would always run into her, and I was so nervous because, oh my God, I got to say something Spanish to her. So I waited
¿Cómo
till
estás?
I waited till like mid-December to go over there, and all I knew was Feliz Navidad.
That's all you knew. So you had to wait till Christmas.
That's all I got.
Start counting. Just
That's it. Yeah. That's all.
Oh my
Steve,
God.
how are you?
That's all I got.
Those trays, quattros.
Yeah. I just
Start
nod and walk
counting.
away.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Oh God, that's
Yeah,
great.
they have some great teachers there, and I bet they still do. I mean, it's just a great school.
Yeah.
And
That's
they are
awesome.
maintaining their difference, the Anderson-Turpin thing,
Yep.
whereas our district has combined.
Right.
I remember Glen Estee High School.
Sure.
And I'm sure you guys do too, and
Yep.
Amelia, and now it's West Claremont.
Yeah.
High
Well,
School.
how are they? Are they? I mean, is it better? I mean, I know at first it was kind of
At
but
first
now
it's
now
hard.
but then I think now it's everybody's kind of settling in.
I think they are, but there are 7 elementary schools in West Claremont, and they are all converging in 6th grade. So I think that is quite an adjustment for many
Right,
of them.
yeah.
But I think they're doing a really good job now of keeping them in small teams, so it still feels small. But I think
Okay.
that was really hard at first.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this before. I think the hard part, at Forest Hills, is the opposite of that. Is where they're going together at Nagel, right?
Exactly.
And then
they
they
go the other way.
separate.
And they separate.
And they're rivals.
Which
Yeah,
is
I mean,
awful.
But I didn't go to Nagel. I went to
Right.
IHM, so I was just sort of
Right.
a,
You didn't
know
a nobody my
Yeah.
freshman year. And
Yeah,
that helped.
because if you would have gone to Forest Hills Junior High
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Forest Hills Junior School. Yeah.
or whatever it was,
Yeah.
yeah. That's Turpin
and then-
Middle School.
It's Mercer now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then didn't they at a little bit a short time go to Anderson for a while too?
Oh, yeah,
the middle
yeah.
school came to Anderson at the same time.
7 through 12 was at Anderson for
That's
like
crazy.
It was
4
a little
years.
tumultuous for a while.
Oh my gosh!
It was
before
crazy.
Nagel was built. Yeah,
that's just nuts.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. So we could actually have you on these podcasts just with us all the time, and have another guest in here. We could just go on forever with this.
Anytime.
If she's going to sing, she can stay.
Well, you know what though, and here's the other thing too: is she would probably not take my questions.
I would not.
She would follow the script, Steve. She'd follow the script.
I have more questions I want to ask her that I was given to ask, but I'll save it for part 2.
Are you sure they're yours?
No, it's from Debbie. It's from Debbie.
Well, give it to her. Give it to her. Give it to her.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
That's been awesome. So thanks for doing this with us. We really appreciate it. And glad we finally got to catch up. And it's been fun going down memory lane.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
No problem. We appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. So for Dan Albert, Steve Ellis, and Sue Vogel Crane, you've been listening to This Week in Anderson. We'll catch you next week.